One. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Inside Movies Galore. I'm your host, David Strage, and here in the room I have young director Samuel Vainisi with me tonight. Hello. How are you doing?
I'm doing very, very good now.
So I appreciate you being able to come on and jump on here real quick. But I figured since you've got a campaign going on, I figured it would help to let people know who exactly you are. So why don't you tell me how you got involved in the independent film industry?
Well, my name is Samuel Vainisi. I'm 21 now, but I've been a fan of indie films since I was like 15. I've been basically supporting anything I can ever since I got my first part-time job. All my money has just been going to like helping people out, and I just like creating art and just helping people express themselves. And it's just really cool that I'm able to finally express myself through art too, and people are actually caring. So,
Okay. And where are you from?
I am from Oak Forest, Illinois.
Cool. And what was the first film that you actually got involved with?
First one I actually got involved with, like my name on it,
Yeah.
I'll say for a producing wise was Blood Moon River with HMM Films.
Okay.
I like the guys. I met them at a Days of the Dead, and they were just like the nicest people. And I just really I saw that they were trying to do something more serious, and I was like, all right, I'll try to help them as much as I can. So.
Alrighty. So I figured I'd talk to you about some of your directorial efforts that you've recently done. So a couple, maybe almost a year ago now, you directed a film called Senses. Why don't you tell me a little bit?
Oh yeah.
A little bit about that film and what it meant to you at the time.
All right, so I got to go back all the way to 2015 for the story, guys. So basically, in 2015, I used to write books and novellas, and I've noticed like I try to express myself through that way, and nobody really cared. Like people would buy a book or something, and then or I'd give away books, and nobody actually read it. So,
how many books have you actually written?
A lot. Yeah, I was writing since I was like 12 years old, and I think maybe 5 people in total actually read my books, and I decided just to try screenplay writing, because if I wrote a screenplay, it can actually turn into like a movie, you know. So when I wrote Senses in 2015, I didn't know how to write a screenplay, so I basically wrote myself. Like the character doesn't, he wants to be a writer, but he doesn't have like the best idea. I kind of like, I don't know, just one night it hit me. I'm like, what if somebody like lost all their senses? And I just jotted it down in like my little journal of notes. I'm like, every little thing that I think of, I'm like, oh, maybe this can work for something one day. And I just started writing the story. The first draft was I had my brother Marcus and his wife Patty in the script,
Okay.
and it was a little bit different than the film we did. It kind of had like more flashbacks and more story developments. It was a little more violent too. I sent my brother the script, and he just was like too busy and all that stuff. And I try to like see if I can get that made. I actually when I released my novel Unlocking the Truth, like 25 copies of that was released. I printed up the first draft of that screenplay so they can read it. So whoever has the novel, they have the original draft of Senses too. I signed it up and stuff.
Okay.
I actually forgot who has it, but someone has it out there. And basically, years later, 2017, I kind of wanted to try to, I got a camera and I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to do something. And I'm like, you know what, Senses, I already wrote it. I started rewriting it, and I'm like, who do I have? All right, I have my brother Dominic now. He'll help me out. And I was working at Goodwill at the time, so I was just thinking of my friends who worked there, and I started writing this new version, which it has parts of the original script, but completely like different story. And basically, I never had confidence in myself to go out and do my own thing. So when I worked with Scott on The Bad Man, this is January now,
Okay.
a whole week, and it was just the best experience. I could talk about that another time and or later on in this, but
Oh yeah, most definitely.
yeah, it gave me the confidence to like right after I got home, I was like, all right, I'm going to film Senses, and 2 weeks later, I'm already first day of shooting or something. I think 2 to 3 weeks later, and we shot for like 3 months, which was kind of difficult because I was trying to plan around like everyone's schedule.
Hmm.
It was mostly weekends, but we got it done. Didn't turn out the best because I was still new at filmmaking, but it was something. So
Everyone's first is always rough, and you just have to say, "Hey, I went out there and did it."
oh
So,
my, there were so many issues on set. Like I let my friend Tyler, which he co-produced the film. I bought the H4n recorder, and he bought the NTG2 like boom mic, and I let him be co-producer on the film, and I let him do sound sometimes, and we actually had to shoot two whole scenes. Like this one night, this porch scene, it was completely perfect, and then I found out he was actually recording in the H4n. He had that in his pocket, so we had to go out another night to shoot it again. And I was like, God damn it, Tyler! Like there were so many problems because no one else like knew what was going on, but um,
so
yeah.
ultimately, later on, how much later did you start filming on Acrasia?
We wrapped Senses in May, and I was already kind of like working on my next film. Basically, we started shooting Acrasia in the 1st of July, so it was not that much later. It was like a month headroom.
Okay.
Basically, Acrasia kind of came out because when we were filming Senses, I was kind of thinking like, should there be like a burial scene for Jesse? And so
Hmm.
I like went location scouting with Tyler, and we found these amazing locations, and we were like, I was trying to find like, should we add that? And then I'm like, at the end, it was already hard working with like my brother and all that because I didn't really take it seriously. I'm like, yeah, this won't work. But then like locations just stayed in my mind, and I'm like, I kind of created a story with the locations, and I actually really like Acrasia. It turned out really good for me. Like the acting is still not the best, but the story is like, just I don't know. Like filmmaking is like therapy for me. So
Okay.
not working on a film, like my depression really kicks up. But when
More,
I'm working on a film, for
more of
me,
a passion.
exactly, yeah, it's just something I have to do.
Alrighty. So, ultimately, did you use anyone that you had worked with previously in Acrasia? Um,
Yes. So I gotta say a funny story of Acrasia. I thought I would have more help on that one because like like for Senses, I thought like my first one I wouldn't get as much help. Maybe people was thinking me as like more serious. So I the first day of shooting, I had Jessie Winston. She played in Senses, and I really liked working with her. She was so nice, and I actually thought she was like the best acting wise in Senses. But besides that, she was there. I cast my friend Kyle, who I was working with at Fair Play Food, and he said he was wanting to be an actor, and I found out he really wasn't the best actor. I gave him a chance. And then Matthew Novak, my friend, he helped on sound with Senses, and I wanted him because he did the best sound work on Senses, and I didn't know who else to trust.
okay.
And then I was supposed to have like three other people helping me. I was gonna have like Caitlin, who was in Senses. She's gonna help with like makeup and like maybe some photography, and then my friend Armand to do like assistant directing work, and another girl to help with like some scars and stuff. But all three of them kind of like last minute didn't show up. So here I am, first day of filming. It's freaking windy out, and I'm trying to like get everything ready by myself because no one else understands what I'm trying to do. So it was a rough day. And oh yeah, we also at the end of the day, the police told us to basically get the fuck out. So
So definitely sounds like you had a rough start of it the second time around. Hey.
yeah, the first day was a little rough, but then like everyone kind of knew what was going on. So the
Okay.
second day and the third day was a little bit more easier. Only thing, we had to hide our equipment in bags and sneak around so the police didn't know because we didn't have money for film permits, so we had to like run a gun when we could. So
Guerrilla filmmaking at its best. Uh,
exactly.
And then now you have a new movie that you have finished.
Correct.
Um, Correct, called Breathe. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it and what do you have in store for it?
So so after shooting at Krasia, we wrapped in like August, and I didn't know. I was telling people like, yeah, I already spent a lot of money on these films. I might take a little break, but then like I told you when I'm not working on anything, my depression kind of acts up, and I'm like, I was feeling really low, so I'm like, I have to work on something. I have to do something. I can't wait till next year to do something. So I started writing two scripts. They're both were going to be like short films. One's going to be a feature film. I don't really know if I should say that yet. And then the other was a short film called Breathe. It started out as more of like an insecurity kind of film, and it kind of evolved. Like at first, it was gonna be like a test footage. Like, all right, let me get the sound right, let me get the camera right. But then I started like loving the story I was telling because the entire story is like without no dialogue, so you have to just watch what happens, and there's little visual cues to
Okay.
tell this bigger story.
I'm
Let me tell you about the
seeing a lot
story. Then.
more of that come out now, so it's definitely in. So
So breathe. It's mostly about anxiety, and now this might be a spoiler, but it's also the girl's transgender, so it's kind of like it's topical, I guess. That's what I've been told,
okay.
and kind of fighting with that the entire night. She's trying to like she's trying to figure out a way to come out and tell her parents how she feels because it's eating her alive, but it's kind of hard, and her mind and her anxiety kind of like fights with her, and it kind of gets to a crazy climax at the end that she just can't handle it anymore. I don't want to spoil the ending. It's just so intense. Like, I'm so happy with the new one, how it turned out. We shot from like 4 p.m. to 3 in the morning,
Okay.
and I worked with Alice Winkler, and she nailed it. Like,
Now, is there anyone that you're working that you work with that is newer to your cast of Breathe that you haven't worked with before?
that was Alice. I actually never worked with a real actor before, so I didn't know what to expect. And now I was able to get everything and even more out of like a real actor. Like Alice, like she literally cried on camera for us, and I didn't even expect that. Like she went all in. And for Breathe, it was only me and my brother Dominic. He was helping with the sound, but I was like monitoring it. I'm like, I need someone to hold it because I'm doing these really weird like camera movements and trying to do these like one take shots, and I need someone I could rely on for sound, and he did like the best job ever. So
Alrighty. So think we'll talk about some of your things that you've executively produced. I'm going to mention a few names: Summerland, The Bad Man, and are there any others that you would like to mention that you're actually part
I'm really proud of Teratomorph. It's a film by Joe Meredith. He's killing it. He needs more love.
of? Alrighty, and you were starting to say something about what you do, what you did with the Bad Man. Why don't you?
So with the Bad Man, I've been a Scott Shermer's like my idol. He kind of like he has his films he makes are like my favorite films, and it was kind of like an honor to be able to work with him. And this is like my first ever like this was my first ever film I was able to be a part of, and I didn't know anything. I was like learning sound and camera work and how movies were made. And funny story, I because my car's kind of shitty, my mother and my father and all that, they told me, I shouldn't really drive there myself. I should find like a way there and a way back. So I was able to get my father to take me, but my mother didn't know that I didn't have a ride back. So I drove like 5 hours out there and I got dropped off, and I had no transportation back. So I was kind of figuring it out as I went. I just wanted to be there and to be a part of the movie. Luckily, I had my cousin Amber come out the night before, and she picked me up and stuff. But the Bad Man, that was like a dream come true week. We worked for I worked for 5 days. I wasn't there. There was 6 days for the mansion stuff. I was there for 5. I wasn't able to be a part of the Saturday shoot because I had to leave, but I was there for most of it. And we woke up at like 9 in the morning, and we didn't go to bed until like 3 in the morning because we were stupid enough to hang out in the attic after shooting. Uh, I say that film I'm most proud of. There's so many like I understand now like why people don't want to make these nasty movies because like have you seen The Bad Man?
Yes. In fact, I was there's a review out on my channel on it. So I was able to put money in on the campaign and get a copy myself. So
Oh,
I really enjoyed the film. I thought it was very impressive coming from Scott Shermer. I haven't watched some of his previous films. I did watch House,
House
the
of Hope. Yeah.
correct, but I plan on going back and watching Headless. I do a lot of what is it, hardcore collecting first, and then I go back and watch the films that I pick up.
Well,
So.
if you remember that scene in The Bad Man when Mary wakes up and the clown is like basically like saying, "Are these oranges?" and all that stuff. They're big
Yeah.
orange. Like talking about her tits. That scene was like so intense to film. I felt so bad because Arthur had to scream so many times. Like we were doing that scene for like 2 to 3 hours, and like I can see like how intense like things got and like why people wouldn't want to film like do those all the time because it just eats at you. Like Ellie was literally she was really scared. Like I'm not gonna lie, I even if you listen to the audio commentary, Jason Crow, he said on his way back driving from the mansion, he literally like broke down and cried in his car, and it really got to them. Like they really put themselves out there for the movie, and it shows. They're just that committed.
Oh yeah, it was definitely intense emotions that were in the film. I could definitely tell that. So ultimately, is there any other work that you want to talk about that maybe
Yes.
you out on that you might want to talk about?
Yeah, so I guess it'll be an exclusive for your podcast. So basically, the money I'm raising through selling Breathe DVDs. This DVD includes it's gonna be two cuts. It's gonna be the film festival cut and the director's cut. The only difference is that I have to take out a song, but and then it also includes my brother's short film that's like about 30 minutes and all that stuff. But I'm selling these DVDs mostly like the money raised is gonna go towards my first feature film, which I'm shooting over the summer. I'm I've been talking to Alice Winkler, Jason Crow, Marcus Cook to all like come out and film with me, and I'm really confident that we will do a good job.
Very cool. Um, so you have a lot in store for you then.
Oh my god, I'm if my cards play right, I might be able to direct 3 features next year, but I'm holding my breath. I know I'm definitely doing one, but it'd be cool to do 3.
Well, definitely keep me in the loop. I definitely like helping beginning directors, and who knows down the line I may actually be somewhat free to actually do some more producing myself. So,
Yeah, man, we're acting.
well, in any case, I appreciate you being able to come on and talk about your art and what you have in store for your future. And I hope to be able to have you be on in the future to be able to, help and get the word out on your films as well. So,
Yeah, thanks, man. This was really cool. I was able to actually. I think this is my first ever like interview. Kind of never done one of these before. This is kind of weird.
well, I'm glad that I was your first, and
You popped my cherry.
hopefully that I'm making podcasting history with you as well. So,
Yeah. One more thing. For me, I guess my films, I told you they're all therapy. So when I write something, I'm not just writing something like when I said like I'm going to direct maybe 2 features or more or 3. I wrote scripts a long time ago and I'm still writing. It's just like, it's a way to express myself. And I'm actually really happy that I'm able to have people actually care and like are interested in what I have to say. I've never felt more alive than doing filmmaking. And hey, if anybody needs any advice, just PM me. I'm always on Facebook. I'm happy to talk to you if you need any advice, camera specs or anything. So
I'm going to give this point in time, let you tell the audience exactly where you can find your films if you still have copies of your previous films,
oh yeah,
and where they can find a copy of Breathe.
So, I guess I just started a Store Envy account. Let me see what exactly. It's Samuel Vainisi art.storeenvy.com, I believe it's called.
Okay.
Or you can DM me directly. I have like 15 copies of Senses left over, and then it's like out of print. But the cool thing about my DVDs, if you get a copy, it comes with like hours of like behind the scenes and like making ofs that will never be available anywhere else. And I think that's the cool thing about physical, to keep physical alive, because nowadays it's kind of all going to digital, and it's kind of sad. And but Breathe will be out by mid-December. I'm saying mid because I still gotta get Alice Winkler to sign them up, so it's gonna take like a week to ship it out and then get them back. But yeah, you know how things work. It takes a while, but you all if you I'm planning on being at some some horror cons and film festivals too. Like I'm definitely going to be at Cinema Wasteland in April. I should have some copies on me there. If you come and see me, I'm probably going to be the fucker in the blue hat. So just say hi.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly where you can find them. So thank you once again for coming on.
Thank you. Awesome.
Appreciate you being able to just jump on real quick. I know it wasn't for very long, but this way I can help get the word out on you and what you are as a filmmaker, and people can get to know you and become fans of you through listening. So.
And when I start a podcast, I'm going to interview you next.
I'm looking forward to it. I accept the challenge. In any case, you have a great evening, and why don't we say good night to the folks out there?
Good night, guys. Thanks for listening. Or if you guys listen to this years later, yeah, thanks for listening to my first ever podcast.
Alrighty. And good night, everyone. This has been Inside Movies Galore. Tomorrow night, look out for the discussion on Thanksgiving with the Inside Movies Galore crew. So definitely check that out at 9 p.m. And stay tuned for more cool reviews coming out from Inside Movies Galore. Thank you.